Imagine for a moment you're standing at the edge of a vast flowing river. The water moves with a rhythm that's both natural and irresistible. You can feel the current, the way it pulls gently but firmly, guiding everything in its path towards a destination that feels both unknown and perfectly right. The river is not just water, it's the flow of feeling, the kind of feeling that moves through you, around you and within you, connecting you to something greater than yourself. Now as you stand there, you might notice something interesting. The river, it doesn't just flow in one direction. It moves in waves, in circles, in patterns that are both predictable and surprising. And just like the river, your feelings, they have a flow too. They don't stay in one place. They move, they shift, they grow and they change. When you allow yourself to focus on that flow, something amazing happens. You begin to feel more alive, more connected, more ready to take action. Think about this. When you focus on where a feeling begins, where it flows, and where it feels the strongest, you're not just observing it, you're amplifying it. You're telling your mind, this is important, this is real, this is worth paying attention to. And as you do that, the feeling grows. It becomes more vivid, more intense, more compelling. It's as if you're turning up the volume on your own experience, and suddenly everything feels more vibrant, more exciting, more possible. And here's the thing, when you focus on the flow of a feeling, you're not just experiencing it, you're also creating it. You're telling your mind, this is how I want to feel. This is the direction I want to go. And your mind, being the powerful tool that it is, responds by making that feeling even stronger, even more real. It's like a feedback loop, where the more you focus on the healing, the more it grows. And the more it grows, the more you want to focus on it. Now let's talk about language. Language is not just words. It's a bridge, a connection, a way of creating meaning and understanding. When you use language in a certain way, you can create a connection that goes beyond the surface. You can create a connection that reaches deep into the unconscious mind, where the real magic happens. For example, when you say something like, can you feel that? You're not just asking a question, you're creating an experience. You're inviting the other person to step into that experience with you, to feel what you're feeling, to connect with you on a deeper level. And because of the way your mind works, they will. They'll feel it, they'll connect with it, and they'll associate it with you. And here's the really interesting part. When you use language that's ambiguous, that can mean more than one thing, you're giving the mind a choice. You're saying, you can take this in any way you want. And the mind, being the curious and creative thing that it is, it'll take it in the way that feels most right, most natural, most exciting. It's like giving the mind a puzzle to solve, and the mind loves puzzles. It loves to find meaning, to make connection, to create understanding. Let's take this a step further. Imagine you could take a feeling and turn it into something tangible, something you can see, something you can hold in your hand. Imagine you can take that feeling and turn it into a colour, a shape, an object. What would it look like? What would it feel like? For example, if you were to take the feeling of excitement and turn it into a colour, what colour would it be? Would it be red, vibrant and intense? Or would it be blue, calm and deep? And if you were to take that colour and turn it into an object, what would the object be? Would it be a ball, smooth and round? Would it be a flame, flickering and alive? As you imagine that, you might notice something interesting. The more you focus on that object, the more real it becomes. The more you focus on that colour, the more vivid it becomes. And the more you focus on that feeling, the more intense it becomes. It's like you're creating a feedback loop, where the more you focus on the symbol, the more the feeling grows. And the more that feeling grows, the more you want to focus on the symbol. Let's talk about fractionation. Fractionation is the process of taking something and breaking it down into smaller parts, then putting it back together again. It's like taking a piece of music and then breaking it down into individual notes, then putting those notes back together to create a melody. And when you do that with feelings, something amazing happens. The feelings, they become more intense, more vivid, more real. For example, if you were to take the feeling of pleasure and break it down into smaller parts, what would those parts be? Would they be moments of warmth, of tingling, of excitement? And if you were to take those moments and put them back together, what would that feel like? Would it feel like a wave, building, crashing, building, crashing? Would it feel like a spiral, twisting and turning, going deeper and deeper? As you imagine that, you might notice something interesting. The more you fractionate the feelings, the more intense it becomes. The more you break it down and put it back together, the more real it becomes. And the more you focus on that process, the more you want to experience it again and again. Let's talk about association. Association is the process of linking one thing to another, of creating a connection between two things that weren't connected before. When you do that with feelings, something amazing happens. The feelings, they become more powerful, more compelling, more real. For example, if you were to link the feeling of pleasure with the desire for more, what would that feel like? Would it feel like a hunger, a craving, a need? And if you were to link that hunger with the act of giving pleasure, what would that feel like? Would it feel like a cycle, where the more you give, the more you want, and the more you want, the more you give? As you imagine that, you might notice something interesting. The more you associate the feelings, the more powerful they become. The more you link them together, the more real they become. The more you focus on the connection, the more you want to experience it again and again. Let's talk about belief. Belief is the foundation of everything. It's the thing that shapes your reality, that determines what you see, what you feel, what you experience. And when you change your belief, you change your reality. For example, if you believe that feelings are fluid, that they flow and change and grow, then that's what you'll experience. If you believe that language is powerful, that it can create connections and meaning, then that's what you'll experience. If you believe you can create amazing experiences, that you can connect with others on a deep level, then that's what you'll experience. As you imagine that, you might notice something interesting. The more you believe in the power of feeling, the more you'll experience it. The more you believe in the power of language, the more you'll experience it. And the more you believe in your ability to create amazing experiences, the more you'll experience it. And finally, let's talk about the power of now. The power of now is the power of being present, of being fully engaged in the moment. And when you're fully present, something amazing happens. You begin to become more aware, more connected, more alive. For example, if you're fully present in a conversation, you'll notice things that you wouldn't normally notice. You'll hear the subtle changes in tone, the slight shifts in body language, the hidden meaning behind words. And as you notice those things, you'll become more connected, more engaged, more in tune with the other person. And as you imagine that, you might notice something interesting. The more you focus on the now, the more you'll experience it. The more you're fully present, the more you'll feel connected, engaged, alive. And the more you focus on that connection, the more you'll want to experience it again and again. And so, as you stand on the edge of that river, feeling the flow of the water, the flow of feeling, the flow of connection, you might notice something amazing. You're not just standing there. You're part of the flow. You're part of the connection. You're part of something greater than yourself. And as you feel that, as you experience that, you might notice something even more amazing. The flow is not just outside you, it's inside you. It's in your mind, in your body, in your soul. And as you focus on that flow, as you connect with it, you'll feel more alive, more connected, more ready to take an action. And as you feel that, as you experience that, you might notice something even more amazing. The flow is not just something that happens to you. It's something that you create. It's something that you control. It's something you can use to create amazing experiences, to connect with others, to create a life that's vibrant, exciting, and full of possibility. And as you feel that, as you experience that, you might notice something even more amazing. The flow is not just something you experience. It's something that you already are. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your essence. And as you connect to that essence, as you embrace it, you'll feel more alive, more connected, more ready to take action. And as you feel that, as you experience that, you might notice something even more amazing. The flow is not just something you are. It's something you can share. It's something you can use to connect to others, to create amazing experiences, to create a life that's vibrant, exciting, and full of possibility. And as you feel that, as you experience that, you might notice something even more amazing. The flow is not just something you share. It's something you can amplify. It's something you can use to create an even more amazing experience, to connect with even more people, to create a life that's even more vibrant, exciting, and full of possibility.